Last two problems, 36 and 46. Let's look at 36. Find the domain and range for each function. Easiest way to do domain and range is to graph it. So if you can graph it, do it. I'm going to pause the video real quick while once again I go into my graphing calculator and I just type all that into Y1. By the way, quick shortcut hint for you for this. Actually, I think I'm just going to type this in my graphing calculator and you can see how I do this because I have a cool shortcut for this. So let's go to Y1, or Y equals, clear both of these, go back to Y1. Now, I want to put in a fraction. There's a really awesome shortcut for putting fractions into your graphing calculators that I did not know about till college. And that is hitting alpha and then Y equals. Alpha, then Y equals. And you'll see right here, this number 1 says n over d. So I'm going to hit 1, and it gives me a fraction right there. So then you don't have to worry about all those parentheses and division symbols and all that stuff. So we can just do that. And if you need the absolute value bars, you do math, arrow over to NUM, and then the first one is ABS. And it gives you absolute value bars. So I've got that. And I want x minus 2 over x minus 2. So x minus 2, arrow down to get the denominator, over x minus 2. And then I want to graph this on my normal screen, not my zoomed in window. So if you hit zoom, and then number 6 is zoom standard, it will take you back to your standard 10 by 10 window. So here's our graph right here. Now domain, what x values is this hitting? So the only one really in question is right here at 2. Is it hitting 2 or getting up to but not quite hitting 2? The easiest way to do that is if you hit trace on your graph and then type in 2 and then hit enter. And it takes you to that point 2, and you'll notice when x equals 2, y equals nothing. So this graph does not exist at 2. So our domain is going to be all reals, all x values except for 2. Now a couple different ways we can write that. So domain, we could write all reals, x cannot equal 2. You could do negative infinity up to 2 with parentheses and then 2 up to positive infinity. Or you could say x is greater than 2 and x is less than 2 without the equals underneath them. Those are all different ways you can write it. Now let's look at our range on this very funky looking graph. Our range is not an interval. It is 2 distinct points. Your range is either -1 or it is +1. So for my range here, I'm going to say y equals either -1 or +1. And that's my range. Hope that helps with number 36. Let's do number 46. Write an equation for the curve shown. There's a couple of parts of this that's pretty quick and simple. And I would say the simplest one is we are moving this parabola left 1 and up 2. If we're moving left and right, that is an inside, and it will be opposite or counterintuitive, so left will actually be plus. And if we're moving up and down, that's going to be outside and the same, so up will be positive. So far for our equation, inside, opposite, so x plus 1 squared, because this is a parabola, I know it's going to be a quadratic, and then plus 2. So that is what I have so far for these two things. Next, my parabola is facing down, which means it has been reflected up and down across the x-axis. So that's going to be an outside negative. So now I'm going to add a negative to my equation. This last step is probably the most complicated piece. Now, something you need to know about parabolas. A parabola from the vertex will usually go down 1 and then to either side 1. That's your typical x squared parabola. To get to the next point, down 1, over 1. This one doesn't fit that. If we look from the parabola on this one, we're going down 2 over 1 to each side, which means that this has been stretched vertically by 2. Since we're not going down 1, we're going down 2. We've stretched this graph like an elastic band. So if we stretched up and down by 2, that's going to be outside and the same. So I need to put a 2 outside my square. So that means I'm going to get, got my negative there, I'm going to put a 2, and then I have the rest. And that is my final equation. Hopefully that answers some questions. If there are any other specific ones you want that are not answered in these 3 videos, please email me and let me know. And I also know that I am getting this video to you guys late. I'm sorry about that. I told you I would get it to you on Saturday. I completely forgot that my grandpa's funeral was Saturday, and I did not get home until late. So I'm really sorry about that. That's why I'm getting it done today. Because of that, I'm going to push the due date for the 0.2 quiz back. So then you have time to watch these videos, get any other questions you have answered, and then you can take that quiz and feel prepared. Hopefully that helps with all of that. Bye, guys.